Welcome to my channel. My name is Ria and this is your weekly astrology for the week of 20th March to 27th March 2022. And on this channel, I post new moon videos, full moon videos, and weekly horoscope videos. And before we begin, I request you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and that really helps me out, and also you get notified whenever I post a video. So for this video, I am going to talk about the energies that I enter the week with. Then I will talk about the energies for this week, the important events that are taking place, and towards the end of the video, I will pull a few cards for the week's energy. So let's get started. Now we are coming into this week with the full moon in Virgo energy. Now that full moon happened on 17th or 18th of March. Depending on your location, the date could have varied, right? So we had a full moon back then, and that full moon was a complicated one. The video for that moon is on my channel if you want to know the details. But real quick, the basic themes of that full moon were associated with Pluto and Neptune, right? The moon was in a trine with Pluto, which means that that full moon brought with it an energy about transformation and release and catharsis, Pluto. And with the opposition to Neptune, we might have felt confused or very magical and spiritual, because Neptune goes one of these two ways, either a lot of confusion or a very magical, spiritual, creative feeling. So to sum it up, I would say that that moon could have brought with it, or begun rather, a process of transformation or release or catharsis. And during the full moon, Uranus was squaring Mars and Venus, which means that full moon was supercharged, right? There was a lot of energy to take action and make things happen. And alternatively, when Mars and Uranus square like this, it can also lead to anger and frustration. But in a nutshell, that moon was a moon of transforming things, ending things, beginning things, releasing things. It could have felt confusing. We could have felt a little low on the moon, or we could have felt very magical and creative, right? Because that's Neptune. And with the other aspects going on in the chart during the moon energy, there was a tendency of perhaps getting angry, getting frustrated, or a lot of drive and courage to take action and make things happen. So this week, that full moon energy will continue. We will be transforming, we will be ending things, releasing things, and working on whatever that moon brought with it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that on Saturday, March 19th, Venus and Uranus squared exact. And Uranus is the planet of sudden changes, unexpected changes. You can see this, right? I'll show you guys. Uranus is here. Okay, it's right here. And on the weekend, it squared Venus, 90-degree angle. And what that means is that there could have been sudden changes, unexpected changes to Venus-related things, to how we feel about ourselves, to our self-worth, or to our relationships and projects. Or we could have got ideas about these things, and since it's a square, it could have felt challenging. So this is another thing that happened over the weekend. And on Sunday, the sun changed signs. From Pisces, it entered Aries, and you can see this. The sun is at 0 degrees of Aries. And whenever the sun changes signs, we see a subtle shift in energy. Up until Sunday, the sun was in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is right here. And Pisces is the end of the zodiac, right? Pisces is the subconscious. Pisces is where we close out the past. Pisces is a very free-flowing, flexible, creative energy. So the past 30 days or so, this was the basic vibe of being more flexible, going with the flow a little bit more, maybe closing out the past in some ways. But now it's different, right? Aries is where we begin the zodiac. Aries is a go-getting energy. It's about taking action and making things happen. So when the sun is in Aries, there's a lot of energy supporting us to do things, to make things happen, and to take action, right? And to take initiative. And that being said, currently all planets are direct, right? And when planets are direct, there's forward movement, right? And what that means is that with the sun in Aries, the energy is all about taking action, making things happen, and moving forward, right? So that's another thing that we're entering this week with the sun in Aries. Last week, the sun was in Pisces, more flexible, more free-flowing, more about the past, more about the subconscious mind, a little spiritual, creative. But Aries is action. It's go-getting. It's about doing things. And this week, we are in that energy. And the last thing that I will mention before we talk about this week's energies is that last week I did mention that Saturn here is in a square with the nodes, and this week it's in a tighter square with the nodes. It's not exact yet, it will be. So this is a continuation of the energy from last week. And what Saturn squaring the nodes means is that whenever a planet is in this configuration, a square to the nodes, it's magnified. And Saturn is restrictions, it's limitations, it's hard work, it's decisions, it's discipline, right? So those things are magnified. And whenever a planet is making this aspect, right, it also means that through this planet, we can move from the past into the future. The South Node Ketu is the past, the North Node Rahu is the future. So with Saturn, through hard work, through decisions, through discipline, through committing to things, we can move towards the future. But generally speaking, we might feel slightly restricted and limited. And that energy has been on for a while, right? Because the new moon in Aquarius was in a conjunction to Saturn. I'm digressing a little bit. The new moon happened, I think, on 1st or 2nd of Feb. I think it's 1st of Feb. I don't remember exactly, but around then. And that new moon was in a conjunction with Saturn. So that started that feeling of feeling slightly restricted and limited. And now it's squaring the nodes. Saturn is squaring the nodes. So that energy is still there. And this will continue this week till Saturn and the nodes square exact, and then it'll start to ease off. That being said, it's not all negative. It's not negative, right? It's never negative. But that being said, Neptune is sextiling the North Node, so is Jupiter. And what this means is that whatever changes, whatever restrictions, whatever decisions we need to take, there's a silver lining. There's a silver lining. Jupiter is the most benefic planet, and it's making a positive aspect with the North Node, which means there's some blessing there. There is a benefit. There is something positive. And with Neptune sextiling the North Node, there is a spiritual element to all this. There is an element of a higher power acting. So that is also there. So it's not negative. It's just that we might need to decide. We might need to work hard. We might feel restricted and limited. But there is a silver lining because Jupiter is also aspecting the nodes. And this week, this energy will continue. So to sum up the background, I would say that this week we are in continuation with the full moon in Virgo energy, which is a lot about change, which is a lot about transformation, endings, beginnings. There might be some confusion, or if there's no confusion, there might be a feeling of feeling magical, spiritual, creative. And Uranus this week is still going to square Mars and Venus, not exact. It will square Mars exact, but it will be in that configuration. And what that means is that that tendency to get angry and frustrated is still there. Alternatively, if we use this energy constructively in taking action and making things happen, anger and frustration won't manifest. So that's the background, and now let's talk about the week. So the first important thing happens on Monday. Now, some parts of the world, this is Sunday, and what's happening is Jupiter and Mercury are conjunct on Monday. Jupiter is the most benefic planet. Mercury is our mind, it's our thinking, it's logic, it's our day-to-day, it's our habit, it's all these things. So when Jupiter and Mercury conjunct, there's a blessing. There could be a blessing to our thinking, there could be a blessing to our routine or our habits, right? Maybe there's some healing that helps us with our habits, helps us with our routine, helps us with our day-to-day. So this is generally speaking, this is a positive energy. It's a positive energy because anything with Jupiter is usually positive. But the only negative, if there is one, is that Jupiter is a magnifier and Mercury is a very restless energy. So it can magnify that restlessness, it can magnify that anxious feeling a little bit. Mercury is also anxiety. So just be mindful of these energies, right? And when Mercury conjuncts Jupiter, it's also supercharging our mental energy, right? So just be mindful of that as well. And that's Monday. So that's the important event on Monday. And one more thing I want to mention about Monday is that the moon will be in Scorpio, right, where it does not like to be on Monday. And in Scorpio, it makes two stressful aspects: an opposition to Uranus, as you can see, and a square to Saturn. And now it's going to square Mars and Venus and then Saturn. And what this means is that keep stress levels low on Monday, right? The Moon Uranus opposition can lead to sudden changes, sudden outbursts of emotions, a feeling of feeling agitated. And with the square to Saturn, again, that's not an easy energy, square to Mars, again. So a lot of tendency of feeling angry, feeling agitated, feeling a little low, needing to decide things, feeling under pressure. So keep stress low on Monday. And there is this positive aspect happening, so that's a good thing. And the next important thing for this week happens on Wednesday. So I'm going to move up the chart and you'll see this. All right. So this is Wednesday, right? And what's happening on Wednesday is that Mercury and Neptune are conjuncting. Now, this energy is at its peak on Wednesday, but as we enter this week, we'll start to feel this a little bit. And this energy can be slightly challenging, right? Because Neptune, like I said, is a very confusing planet. It confuses things up, right? It's a haze, it's a fog. You can't see clearly with Neptune. And Neptune, although is the higher realms, it's the spiritual realms, it's the most creative and spiritual planet, there's this downside of Neptune that it causes confusion and it can make us feel low. And now it's contacting our mind. Mercury is our logical mind, it's our thinking. So what this means is that we might be very confused, right? There might be some confusion building in the background, starting from the beginning of the week, peaking out on Wednesday. Alternatively, Mercury with Neptune gives a lot of creativity to our thinking, to our mind. So it's a great time for creative things, spiritual things, creative writing, poetry, meditation, things like that. But there's a lot of Piscean energy, right? Neptune, Mercury, and Jupiter. And Pisces is spiritual. Pisces is ending the past. Pisces is creative. Pisces is the higher realms, yes, but Pisces is very confusing. So just be mindful of this. And after Wednesday, the energy will start to ease off if there is confusion. It's not necessary, right? It just depends on how the energy manifests for you, because this is a great energy for meditation, for writing, creative writing, for delving deep into your subconscious. Sometimes writing can help us connect with our subconscious. So it's a great time for those sort of things. And that's Wednesday. But we'll start to feel that energy as we enter the week. Then on Friday, let me move up the chart. There we go. On Friday, we have the last quarter square of the moon. The moon and the sun are going to make a 90-degree angle, right? And this begins a week-long energy till the new moon in Aries, which is about letting go, which is about releasing, which is about closing out the last lunar month. The lunar month that started on 2nd March with the new moon in Pisces. And that new moon energy in many ways was a positive one, right? Because it was conjunct Jupiter. So there were a lot of blessings with that new moon in Pisces. Although Mars, Venus, and Pluto were really, really close on that new moon. So there was a lot of intensity as well. There was a lot of energy that could have manifested as anger or frustration or power, or yes, I'm going to do this and I have that energy to do this. So we are closing out that lunar month, and that new moon was also about ending the past from our subconscious, closing out the past. So that's what we're releasing this week, the energy of that new moon. Perhaps we're closing out the past fully, perhaps we're closing something else out. But the whole week till the new moon in Aries, I believe on 1st April, I think it's 1st April, 1st or 2nd April, we will be releasing. We will be letting go. It's a subconscious release. So that's the energy. And then on Saturday, we have a positive aspect. Again, we'll start to feel the build up a little bit in advance, but on Saturday, it's going to come exact. And what's happening here is that Mercury is in a sextile with Pluto, positive. Pluto is endings, beginnings, catharsis, release, transformation. And Mercury is our mind. It's our thinking, it's our communication, it's our day-to-day habits, routine, it's our immediate environment, it's our social media. So what this means is that there could be a transformation to our immediate environment, to our thinking, communication, habits, routine. There could be an ending of something associated with this. Maybe we end a thought pattern, maybe we end a habit, right? Or we change up the routine to end something and begin a new habit, something like that. But whatever this is, it's not going to feel very stressful. It's a positive aspect. So that transformation, that change is going to happen quite naturally. And that's Saturday. And then towards the end of the week, on Sunday, so we'll start to feel, before we move on to Sunday, we'll start to feel the build-up of Pluto sextiling Mercury by the end of the week, Thursday into Friday or so. And what that means is that towards the beginning of the week, it's a mixed energy, right? Because on Monday, we have that positive aspect of Jupiter and Mercury, but we also have the moon in Scorpio making these stressful aspects to Uranus and Saturn and Mars. So it's a mixed bag on Monday. On one hand, we can feel positive, we can feel healed in some ways, but there can be a lot of restlessness, a lot of anger, a lot of agitation on Monday. And then we'll also start to feel that confusion of Mercury, Neptune. It's not necessary there will be confusion. If it manifests in other ways, then there will not be confusion. It can be a very magical feeling, Neptune. It can be a very creative, spiritual feeling also. But that energy of either being confused or feeling very spiritual and creative will last till Wednesday, and then it'll start to ease off. And then we'll start to feel like, okay, I need to transform something in my thinking perhaps, or I need to change up my furniture, how I keep things. I need to change something up. So that'll start into Thursday because Mercury will sextile Pluto. And on Sunday, Mercury is going to change signs, right? It's entered Aries. There, give me a sec. There you go. Mercury is in Aries, and that's a good thing, right? Because Mercury in Pisces, although a great energy for creative writing, poetry, meditation, spiritual things, it's not the best placement for Mercury. And that's simply because Mercury is our logical mind, right? And what is Pisces? Pisces is not logic. Pisces is going with the flow. Pisces is following your heart. Pisces is psychic and intuitive, and it's about going with the flow. It's creative, right? I'm not saying if you're Pisces or Aries, you're these things. I'm just saying that's Pisces energy. So it feels a little lost in Pisces, right? The logic comes down. But Aries is different. And Aries is a fire sign. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. So now you'll start to see that a lot of the energy will start moving from Aquarius and Pisces into Aries. And Aries is beginnings. We begin the zodiac year on with Aries, right? So Mercury in Aries is an energy that is about getting things, right? It's about going and getting what you want. That's Aries. But Mercury is the planet of our communication, and Aries is impulsive. Aries does not hold back. Let's just put it that way. So be mindful of that, right? Communication can get aggressive. Communication can get, okay, I didn't think that through, but I said it. I shouldn't have said it. That sort of thing, Mercury in Aries. So just be mindful of that. Overall, it's a great time to, like I said at the beginning of the video, to move forward. Forward moving energy is still with us. The sun is in Aries, Mercury is in Aries. Forward movement, the new year. And technically, this does not happen this week, but I'm going to talk about it because we'll start to feel the build-up on the weekend, even before, but definitely on the weekend. And what's happening here is that you'll see on Monday, Venus and Saturn are going to conjunct. But they're really close even on Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a build-up. You'll start to feel this energy. And I will mention one more thing before we close out the video. Now, Saturn, it's not a negative planet, but Saturn energy doesn't feel very easy, right? Because Saturn is hard work, it's decisions, it's restrictions and limitations as well. And now it's meeting up with Venus. Venus is the planet of our relationships, romantic relationships, business partnerships. It's our skill set as well. It's how we feel about ourselves. It's the projects that we're working on. Venus, it's all these things. And when it comes in contact with Saturn, we might feel pressured to maybe take a decision connected to these Venus things, or just feel a certain pressure when it comes to anything Venus related. It's not negative, but this is the point where we can decide things about projects and relationships. Saturn is great at deciding things. So that's the positive. That being said, this energy might not feel the easiest, but just be mindful of that, and we'll start to feel that over the weekend. And this is again more into next week, but let me just mention it real quick. You see, the moon has entered Aquarius by the end of this week, and the moon in Aquarius goes through a lot, and now it has to conjunct all this, right? So the first 2 days of next week might be a little difficult. Just be mindful, not negative, just feel like there's a lot of pressure. That's it. So that's the week. And now I'll just sum up the energy real quick. So this week, I would say, it starts off with a positive aspect with Mercury and Jupiter, which can bring a lot of healing and positivity towards our thinking, communication, habits, lifestyle, but it can also aggravate that restlessness that comes along with Mercury. On the same day, we have the moon in Scorpio opposing Uranus, squaring Saturn. So keep stress really low on Monday. There can be a build-up of confusion up until Wednesday, and then it started to ease off, and then we start to think of transforming our Mercury-related things, communication, thinking, day-to-day habits, all those sort of things. And on the weekend, we'll feel the build-up of Venus and Saturn, which can be pressure, which can be like, I need to decide. I feel pressured regarding relationships or projects or just how you feel about yourself. It's not negative. Saturn with anything makes things happen. It causes this restriction. It makes this, it creates this feeling of restriction. It makes this feeling of, I need to do these things. But at the end of it, you do them, So it's not negative. It just kind of pulls you up, right? It says, you had to do this. Why haven't you done it yet? So that's Saturn. It's not negative. And Saturn is also squaring the nodes, but at the same time, Jupiter and Neptune are sextiling it. So although there might be feelings of restrictions and limitations and a pressure to work hard, there is a silver lining and there is a spiritual element to this whole energy. So that's the week in a nutshell. Now, next week, we have the Sun-Mercury conjunction. We have the new moon in Aries, like I said, on 1st April. We have Venus entering Pisces, where it loves to be. And we have the Mars-Saturn conjunction. Oh, and I did forget something this week, which happens on Tuesday. My bad, but let me talk about that before I close out the video. I should have done this, but just slipped my mind. Okay, there we go. So I think this is Tuesday. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, this is Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we have the Mars-Uranus square exact. Okay, but this was there. This energy is something that I spoke about on the full moon in Virgo video, and this energy can manifest in 2 ways. So let me break it down. Mars is the planet of our energy. It's our drive. It's how we take action. It's how we do things. And Uranus is sudden changes, it's unexpected changes, it's a lot of energy. Uranus is a very, very energetic planet. And now it's making a 90-degree angle with Mars, right? So what this could mean is that we are supercharged to take action, make things happen. There's a lot of energy to go after what we want, but this energy, if manifested negatively, can be very angry, can be very frustrated, can be very aggressive. So just be mindful of that, and we'll start to feel the build up, right? Coming into this week from the full moon in Virgo, when they're really, really close, which is Thursday, I believe, no, which is Friday, 18th March, we'll start to feel it. And then after Tuesday, it'll start to go down. So the first 2-3 days of this week are not the easiest. Keep stress low. Don't take decisions if you are confused, right? Because Neptune is there causing this confusion. And after Wednesday, that confusion will begin to ease off a little bit, but we are in the full moon in Virgo energy, which will last up to 2 weeks. So, and that was in an opposition. The moon was in an opposition to Neptune. So if confusion started on Friday with the full moon in Virgo, then just maybe wait it out, although there's a lot of energy saying, let's do this, let's take action, let's move forward. If there's confusion, think it through, right? Think it through. So that's pretty much it. And next week we have the Sun Mercury conjunction, which can bring a message or a realization or an epiphany. We have the new moon in Aries on 1st April. We have Venus changing signs where it loves to be, Pisces. And we have the Mars Saturn conjunction on 5th of April, which is going to happen after 2 years. So that's the week in a nutshell. And now I'll pull a few cards for this week's energy and then we'll close it out. Diligence. Diligence is a very Capricorn thing, right? Which is a very Saturn thing. So work diligently, right? Continue on that path. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. There's a lot of energy that can cause frustration, but be diligent. Coming back to this card, sometimes we give up on things because they might be frustrating us, or they might be, okay, this is never going to happen. But I often think that if I continue this way for 2 years, I will be in a totally different place than I was 2 years ago. So when I get frustrated, I think, okay, you know what? It's not happening now. But if I continue learning this, if I continue doing this for the long term, for 2 years, for a year, I will be in a totally different place. And that helps me. Continue on that path. So perhaps maybe thinking like that might help, because I know sometimes it gets difficult for all of us to keep doing the same thing. But think of where you will be a year from now, 2 years from now, if you do what you need to do, if you do what you want to do, if you follow your dream, if you wake up in the morning and have your routine set and do that thing, right? Consistently, persistently, diligently for the next 2 years. It's a game changer. For me, that was a game changer, thinking that, okay, if I do this for a year or 2 years, some days will be bad, weeks will be bad, but in the long run, I will come out better. So that helps me. That being said, I do have a lot of Capricorn, so maybe it's that. Truth. And perhaps this card is saying that be in your truth, live in your truth. And with Pluto, right? Pluto is aspecting Mercury, our mind, this week. Pluto is also uncovering the hidden. It's about digging deep and finding the truth. So maybe this week we might have a realization or a message or uncover some truth. Adventures. This is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of adventure and exploration. So maybe approach life as an adventure, right? Approach life as an adventure. There's no destination. It's all a journey, and it's all about going on an adventure and having fun. I'm not very good at that, but yeah, it's about having fun and going on a journey. Forgiveness. Maybe this week forgive. We are still in that new moon in Pisces lunar month, right? And Pisces is, Pisces is all about closing out the past, right? And we cannot close out the past, or we cannot let things go from our subconscious, from our mind, till we forgive. Only when we forgive do we let go fully. Otherwise, that anger, that resentment within us eats us up from inside. So I think we got this for the new moon, or that week, I don't remember exactly, but I think this is that since we are closing out that lunar month this week, forgive whoever you need to forgive. And often when we forgive, the benefit is ours. It's not the person that we forgive, right? The benefit is not theirs, it's ours. We can finally move on. We can finally remove that resentment and anger from within us. Okay. Creativity again, Pisces. And there's a lot of Neptune this week, right? Not a lot of Neptune. Seize the day. So I think this card is telling us that be creative, channel that Neptune in being creative, right? I know some of us say that I'm not creative, I just don't have it in me. But creativity could be something as simple as maybe cooking a meal that you like, creating something in the kitchen, or I don't know, creating a workout, right? Anything can be creativity. Anything can be creative as long as we do things and say, okay, this is my way. I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to follow it. Anything can be creative, right? So perhaps this card is a reminder that channel that Neptune, channel that Mercury-Neptune conjunction into creative things. So I'll pick a lesson card now and then we'll close it out. Indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of life, and like I said, we might be confused this week, right? Our logical mind, Mercury, is meeting the planet of confusion. And what does that lead to? That leads to indecision. And logic might not work this week. Mercury is in Pisces, it's next to Neptune, but what will work is intuition, Pisces. Pisces is intuitive. It says, I'll follow my heart. I'll do what I feel like doing, right? So maybe if there is indecision, focus more on your intuition. Think things through though, right? Neptune can cause this fog. You might think, yeah, I'm certain. This is it. This is how it is. And then later with Neptune, it's like, oh, I didn't see it that way. So that's the card. And now I'll just show you guys the cards once more and then we'll close it out. So be diligent, right? Be diligent, right? Don't give up. Don't let go of things because you don't see result. Think of where you will be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now if you continue, right? If you do this thing in your life, whatever that thing is, persistently, diligently, consistently, where will you be in the long run? Saturn, this is Capricorn. And again, I'll show you guys these cards later. This is Pluto, right? We might uncover some truth because Pluto is sextiling Mercury. And this is Jupiter. View life as a journey, as an adventure. And 3 cards associated with Pisces and Neptune, right? Forgive. We are closing out the last lunar month, which was about closing out the past, right? So forgive. And channeling that Neptune energy into creative things might help us deal with the confusion this week. And if there is indecision, again, this is Neptune. Focus on your intuition. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you next time. Bye.